We are back, and it is episode 186 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great.
Is it my turn as Carcass John, as always?
That's correct.
Carcass, and then up here we have, as always.
I don't know what I called myself today. Probably something like dark and murky, since that's what I kind of feel today.
Dark and murky waters.
I'm really tired, man. I don't know why, but I am.
Well, that's because you had a cup full of overkill and a pint of exhorter and a gallon of heathen last night. That's why you're feeling a little wavery.
Well, Rob just left the show. You're going to be there by yourself. I'm going to go grab something real quick to show you guys.
Oh, well.
He's back.
I'm going to finish talking us through the the opening here. I want to do a couple of thank yous real quick. I want to thank MediaTek for graciously being our sponsor, and we're going to play that little clip here in just a second. But also, Deep Dallas Radio still features Carcass John every Friday at 6 p.m. on the Crypt. And I no longer do the Metal Rob show on there, but Brad Amos, who has taken awesome care of me since getting to know him a few years ago, is allowing us to broadcast on the Deep Dallas Radio Facebook page. So big shout out to Deep Dallas Radio, where you can, it's just deepdallasradio.rocks, very easy to find, or you can just Google Deep Dallas Radio. Tons and tons of local and regional music. That's Brad's internet radio station. Brad's a badass and Carcass is a badass. And so they have teamed up together as a couple of badasses. And you can hear the Crypt featuring Carcass John's show, or featuring Carcass John every Friday at 6 p.m. But back to MediaTek, our proud sponsor with locations in Dallas and Houston. Here is Sterling Winfield.
I'd say here the advantage is the teachers. The advantage is that they work in this industry every day. And they have been for 30, 40 years, some of them. I myself have been doing this for over 30 years. And I think that's the advantage. We know how to teach people how to do things, and better than most, if you're just a teacher and not in this industry, I think that's the immediate advantage is just the personnel we have here, period. They're veterans.
Let me pull that out of there. There we go. And another note on MediaTek, they have had a job fair recently. So if you're interested in a gig in media or at the school, I'm not exactly sure what that entailed, but go to mediatek.edu. You can follow me on Instagram at Metal Rob's Records. You can find Scott on Instagram, No Life Till Metal. You can also find him on YouTube by just searching Scott Waters, and the Carcass is on Instagram at Carcass John Art.
Hey, speaking of MediaTek, I had a lengthy discussion with Carrie Crafton at the Creeper show on Saturday night. Creeper, of course, it was Vulgar Fest 5, I think. All sorts of wacky human suspension and sideshow stuff and bands deluxe. And Creeper, of course, absolutely destroyed, as they are wont to do. And he gave me kind of an update on the record and the recording, and I know Ian did his bass stuff on over the weekend, but man, you talk about a little anticipation for that record. That's an all-star. Anybody that knows the scene here in Dallas-Fort Worth knows that those four guys in Creeper all kind of came from different places and sort of joined. So they're sort of a pseudo super group. I don't want their heads to get too large so they can't fit through the door, but they're all seasoned veterans of the game, and man, they are as tight as a $2 watch. And Carrie and Sterling are both impressed with the way how well rehearsed they are and how they are really bringing it with both barrels. So I really, really hope that it's
And they are recording at MediaTek. I was there for drum tracks and hoping to try my hand at some mastering on that.
Okay.
At the tail end of the project, we shall see.
Well, it'd
But,
be nice to get Kerry on it at some point, and I'm
Yeah.
sure he'd be happy to do it, and he'd give us an update a little
Yeah.
more, whatever they can divulge. I don't know. I don't know about that part of the business. I just know that I heard the scratch tracks, and I thought, I'd love a copy of that, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know it doesn't work that way often. So
Yeah.
anyhow, but shout out, guys.
Scott, what's on your mind, brother?
I'm tired. Lots
Yeah.
of stuff, man.
We're pretty worn down today, all three of us.
Yeah.
Well, it's the hottest it's been in history in the state of Texas, at least in this area. And even though we cut my guys off, I work outside, so even though we cut our guys off at 3:30, trying to get them back and hydrated to the shop, it's brutal, dude. And it's speaking of creeper, it really creeps up on you. It's you think by lunch that it's not too bad, and then 1 o'clock hits, and you have a stomach full of food, and it is really, really hot. So
yeah, it's miserable, man. I don't usually complain about the weather, heat, the cold, whatever. I mean, it just kind of is what it is. But man, this is brutal. You just can't stay outside doing anything very long.
Yeah, even our pool water in our backyard is like 92 degrees without a heater or anything.
It's like the Gulf of Mexico in your backyard.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's like swimming.
Anyhow, I did get to go see Heathen and Overkill and
the Gulf of Mexico, not Scott's pool. Yeah, sorry.
Now I forgot who it was. Exhorter.
Exhorter. Just those guys.
Exhorter, and they were good. Their guitar players spectacular. They had some issues on stage with the bass player's bass going out like after the first or second song, and he was off the stage for, I don't know, at least 2 songs, I think. But they were good. They were still great. I really enjoyed them. But I thought Heathen were just fantastic. I've seen them a couple times. They were the best they've ever seen them. And Overkill they're just a machine. So I mean, they've been doing it so long. It's like, it's just nothing to them, and they're not.
It's routine.
Yeah. So I mean, but I did grab me a Heathen
nice
tour shirt. Did not get the Overkill shirt because I've got like 10 or 15 Overkill shirts, and I didn't have $150 to spend on t-shirts. So, but I really wanted to support one of them at least and give them some money for the road. So I grabbed Heathen.
Right.
Oddly enough, the Heathen booth, the place was packed, a lot of people there, but the Overkill booth had a line for the entirety of the time we were there, and the line never stopped. But Exhorter and Overkill, Exhorter and Heathen's booths were pretty much empty the entire time. So,
they're here tonight. I mean, Overkill, Exhorter, and Heathen are here at the Mighty Trees. We've just got so much going on this week that there's just no way to see it all. Cryptic Void from Houston, Grindcore Kings from down there are going to be here Thursday at Growl, and then the show that we've been anticipating for about 5 years, Toxic Holocaust and Havoc, is happening Friday. So even Carcass Spawn will be in town for that one. So we're going to have a nice, friendly family outing at the Toxic Holocaust Havoc show. Woohoo!
Beautiful father-daughter dance.
Yeah.
I picked up a nice little 6 CD box set too that I've been watching on eBay. It was a little too expensive for a while. It was like $70. But on they had that couple days that was like Amazon Prime Day or something like that. So I was able to get the 6 disc box set for, I think it was, I don't know, it was $30 or $35. So, but yeah, the Phil Lynott Grand Slams, pretty much everything. It's got all the studio recordings and a ton of live stuff. So obviously all the post Lizzie material that he did, including several different versions of the song Dedication that did end up on the Thin Lizzy album.
So, you know what? Since you're the Thin Lizzy expert, and I've always wondered this, why did he leave? I mean, and why was he just trying to do something different, or I mean, didn't he leave for a while and then come back, or did he just have side projects?
Are you talking about Thin Lizzy?
Yes.
Thin Lizzy broke up. Yeah, Phil. It's not that he left. It's just that they were so burnt out from all the drug use and being on the road and everything that the band just couldn't take it anymore, and they split up.
I gotcha.
And I mean, there were rumors before he passed away that Thin Lizzy going to reform. It just never happened. And there was things like Live Aid that were happening at the time before he passed away that he was disappointed that he wasn't invited to, or those kind of things. And but yeah, he was doing a lot of local stuff. I mean, a lot of demo stuff with his band Grand Slam, and he was, also doing stuff with Gary Moore. And matter of fact, Grand Slam's even got what's his name, the guitar player, the guy with the long hair, the really long
Ryan
hair.
Robertson.
No, the one. Nope.
Scott
The
Gorham.
one who played on the last album, Thunder and Lightning. He played
John
in.
Sykes.
There you go, John Sykes. So John Sykes is playing on a lot of this, as well as the keyboard player who played on a lot of the Thin Lizzy albums, although was never listed as a member, was also playing on a lot of this stuff. So anyhow, it's just cool to hear that. I'm a big Phil Lynott fan. I love his solo stuff. I love the Thin Lizzy stuff, and I like the Grand Slam stuff too. He was trying to do something a little different, I think. He just, I don't know. It's not that different from Thin Lizzy. Doesn't have that dual guitar attack. I don't think they were trying to, but then there's other times it sounds just like Thin Lizzy, so who knows? But the live stuff has got a lot of his. He doesn't play a lot of Lizzy stuff on the live stuff. It's mostly like, because he had 2 solo albums under Phil Lynott, and it's mostly Grand Slam and Phil Lynott stuff. And he does a Parisian Walkways on several of these, which of course he had a hit with Gary Moore.
Okay, I just don't know that much about Thin Lizzy, except for they were a prominent band. Jailbreak is their most famous record. I've been educated by. In fact, you sent me the files for that one album that I was asking about, and man, that's good stuff. Anyway, I just wondered.
Yeah, it was burnout. Just too much drugs, too much excess.
Well, and if you know any history of the 70s rock and roll, classic rock, I mean, there was a whole lot of that going on, and I don't know how some of those guys survived. Let alone had a decent career. But anyway,
I got some. I don't know if you guys care or not, and we can always move on to the demos to talk if you want. But they get some cool 7-inches. I could show you that I picked up in the last few weeks.
Yeah,
metal stuff that is. I didn't even know Annihilator had a 7-inch. Annihilator Downright Dominant.
Oh wow!
Backed with Romeo's Delight on the back. This one is a grail. I've been looking for this forever. Ace Frehley's Japanese pressing of Into the Night.
All right.
Yeah, that's not one that shows up and when it does, it's usually $100, and I don't have $100 to spend on a 7-inch record. Frehley's Comet, Insane. So, anyhow, you don't see, like I said, you don't see Frehley's Comet singles all that often. This one's kind of cool because it's just something you never see. Nadia Como Tu, Scorpions.
Oh, Nothing Like You? Yeah.
Yep. I thought that was cool. I like to find these, the Spanish singles that are actually in Spanish, like Helix. Amor de Heavy Metal.
The love of heavy metal.
Heavy metal love.
Heavy metal love.
Yeah. I've never seen this one before, and I'm a huge Saxon fan. I collect I've got tons of Saxon 7-inches, but there's a single for single for Requiem.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not one you see every day. Here's one that Rob will like. Japanese pressing for Keel. Somebody's waiting.
Very nice.
Another one you might appreciate, Rob. This is a Japanese single for Shout.
Ah, yes.
Big time glammy metal band from the 80s. One of my all-time favorite bands, UFO. Doctor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, an old single. Lipstick Traces as the B-side.
What is that? What country is that from?
That one, I believe, is the UK. Let me find out. Oh, Germany. It's Germany. It says Gemma on it. Germany. This was awesome to find. Except I'm a Rebel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not one you see very often. And then Stampede.
Well, no wonder you don't have enough money to pay for $100 single. Because you got about 15 $10 singles.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 more. This one, and then the one next to will launch us into our demo talk, unless you guys want to do something, talk about something else. But this is actually a promo single for Fight, Nailed to the Gun.
Wow.
So there's nothing on the B-side.
Wow.
It's just an A-side single. And
I
epic sleeve from, and it actually says Madrid, Spain on there, which I guess is the only place they actually pressed they did CD singles, but in Spain they actually pressed a vinyl single for it.
Man, that's a great song too.
Speaking of that, I had a guy argue with me today that Judas Priest are just a classic rock band, but Fight, they're a heavy metal band because they're heavier. I'm really
He's
tired.
never listened to Firepower or Painkiller or
Well, they said
Angel
up
of
until
Retribution.
nothing they did up till Painkiller was heavy metal. It was all just classic rock.
Oh, like Stained Class.
Like
Yeah.
Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah, the 41st year of Screaming
Oh, dude,
for
I'm
Vengeance.
telling you, there's a couple boards on Facebook right now. Mofos of Metal, MOFOS. There's tons of young people on there, and they will argue to their blue in the face that Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Saxon are just hard rock bands because they're not as heavy. And he lists all these ridiculous, I wrestled a bear once bands. Well, listen to that. How can they possibly be metal if this is metal? So I went on
That's
there.
not
I said,
even music, so we could argue that point. But as long as they don't call Elvis a pedophile, I think we'll be good.
Oh, yeah. Right. But I posted on this. I got to read this to you guys because I posted this on there, and half of them were clueless. The other half got it. I said, in my opinion, Howlin' Wolf, John Lee Hooker, and B.B. King are not blues because they don't sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Kenny Wayne Shepherd, who are, in my opinion, true blues artists.
So that was just somebody's opinion. I thought
so
that was
mine.
yours, and I thought, Scott, you need a physical exam.
No, I posted that.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a stupid opinion, but it's pretty much what they're saying. Well, these artists aren't as heavy as these artists, therefore they're not metal. Learn your damn history, man.
Right.
Yeah. It had to start somewhere.
Anyhow, I'll show you the last single and get out of that topic because that topic fire me up. But this one will launch us in because this is the final 7-inch single I needed for my Hyrax collection. This thing never shows up, and I got it for a really good price. But this is the Hyrax demo in 1984.
Wow. And that's not a reissue or an after pressing or a.
I mean, it is. There was only one pressing. It's on Storm. I don't know. It's an old pressing. There's only one pressing of it.
Right.
It's not from 1984. It's from later years. It's basically a bootleg, but Caton has basically endorsed it and said it's a really rare thing, and he's got a copy in his collection. So I had to find one and finally did. So yeah, it's the 1984 demo from Hyrax on 7-inch vinyl. So cool. Good stuff. Yeah. Hyrax and Hyrax 84 were pretty much a crossover band.
Yeah, really. Hey, speaking of which, you see that behind me?
I do. Love that album.
That thing looks like it's never been played, and it's got the strip across the top. It came with that. It still had a shrink wrap on it and the hype sticker. So for $7, I thought, man, that's a bargain. That's not my favorite Aerosmith, but I had to get the other parts. I figured Scott would be disappointed if I didn't at least pick it up, so I did.
Yes. For $7, yeah. It's I don't know. Kings and Queens is one of my all-time favorite Aerosmith songs. So
Aerosmith Scott will know that you're out.
Aerosmith, he will feel a disturbance in the force.
Yes,
not a whole lot of 70s heavy metal hard rock bands that had banjos mixed into the music.
Nope.
But Kings and Queens has one.
Well,
and Walk This Way and Draw the Line is a freaking heavy song for 77.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no denying that it had to start somewhere. Okay.
And Testament covered it.
There you go. Well, yeah. Nobody's fault.
Nobody's
fault. My fault.
Yep. That's definitely a heavy metal song. Anyhow.
Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
So, because we're such an organized show, and we're completely,
professional, right? We're professionals.
Professional, yes. Top shelf professionalism is what you get here at the Metal Roundtable. Nothing more, nothing less. We had no idea what we were going to talk about 15 minutes before the show, which is a running theme on the program, is we have no idea. We thought we might have a guest.
That's why we thought we had a guest.
Yeah, we thought we had a guest.
Didn't work out. No big deal. It just didn't work out. So we'll get that squared away. So I texted the guys in our group chat and said, "Hey, what about demo tape talk?" And I didn't hear anything for a minute or two because they were busy. And I was like, "Well, I'm creating the show. Demo tape talk it is."
Yeah, I knew what we were going to talk about at 4:54.
Yes.
You might have had 15 minutes,
Yeah.
but I had 6 minutes. And so
yeah.
we're
So here
going
we are.
all because I have Texas demo tapes at my ready in a close proximity. It's going to be all Texas all of the time.
Okay.
I grabbed a few. I had a chance to grab a few, so I got some here, maybe like 10 or 15.
Yeah.
One of them,
and
Texas.
I've got 8 or 10 or so. And the funny thing about what I pulled is a lot of it, I don't have a clue what it is. So I'm hoping to just reach out to the metal community and say, what do you know? I know very little about these except, so I'll kick us off. All right.
Sorry,
My first one,
my
first of
dog
all,
seems to want to be in my arms for some reason today.
first of all, a demo tape is not really something that we do anymore. You know, you used to record 2 or 3 or 4 songs or half a dozen songs, and you'd send cassette tapes out to labels and whoever, magazines, and you'd trade demos and you'd try to get a record deal through sending in your tape or whatever. And that lasted into, the 90s for sure, the mid 90s. And so what I tried to do was pick up stuff that was actually demo tapes, not necessarily this is just the cassette version of the release. So that's how I did it. But my first one is a band called Bellicose, melodic hard rock from Dallas. It is great. Bellicose. I have a copy of the CD that has some of these songs on it. And this thing, see, demo. Woo, it's bona fide.
It's certified demo
That's
tape.
right. And check this out. Handwritten labels, side A, side B. But some of the songs appear on the CD that came out. The CD is impossible to find. It's over $100. I'm very lucky to have one. Sorry, I got the itchy eye. And the demo is not even listed on Discogs. So I'll run through a couple more real quick. Is that cool?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
I saw a band one day, a rock band at Josie Records called Brave Little Howl. They had a 4-song little tape out. I think they were new on the scene whenever this came out. So I picked it up. Good, just straight ahead indie rock from Dallas. Kind of neat. Again, with the, little DIY with the side A, side B lettering there. I think that's cool. This is number 10 of 50 that they did. So yeah, Brave Little Howl. That's cool. And I'll do one more real quick, then I'll let you guys throw some out there. So on my birthday a few years ago, I went into Born Late over in Fort Worth, and I was talking to Henry. We were just BSing about whatever, and he was asking me, what brings you to town? What are y'all out doing? Audrey and I were in there, and I said, it's my birthday. We're going to go out and eat and hang out. He goes, wait a minute. He goes to the back, and he comes back with 2 demo tapes in his hand, tells me happy birthday, and this is one of them. I have no clue. Chazaretta, Get Your Rock Hot.
Yeah. No idea, man.
No clue. I don't know if I've even played it, but definitely some sort of hair metal. Looks like from Fort Worth. But yeah, if you know anything about Chazaretta, surely I listened to this when I first got it. But yeah.
Shockingly, I don't know a thing about them.
Chazaretta 4-song demo tape. There it is.
They're my favorite band. I have all their demo.
What say you boys?
Well, since you're off, I'm gonna show something that I think most people know who it is.
Wow.
Yes.
Watchtower demo tape. And to your point, when they were, just like a regular tape that you'd buy off the shelf, and then you had to kind of fill in the blanks with yourself. This is kind of a rare bird, and once again, since I knew about 6 minutes before the show was going to start, I just grabbed Texas stuff. You want me to go one more time?
Sure,
go
man.
Ahead.
How about this?
Let me ask you about that. Where did you get the Watchtower tape?
From Watchtower.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, because I mean, that's how we trade. That's how we traded our music, you know.
Right.
In fact, I've got I've been going through closets and looking at expanding and contracting space because I'm going to be all inclusive here pretty soon, sometime down the road. And I found you know, Rob Doom McNeese is the ultimate tape player. That guy, I have literally trunk loads of comp tapes, and I know that he and I swapped tapes back and forth trying to outdo each other, whether it was German speed thrash or heavy metal, death metal, whatever. And so I've got trunks and boxes of full of tapes of comps from friends all over the world, but he is the king of tapes. And I know every time we'd go to the show, we would, in fact, I had a dual tape deck just so I could record, you know, demo tapes like this and give my friends a copy. But this thing is a super rare bird, and it's actually got 2 rehearsal songs on there that weren't on the original or the one that they originally cleaned up and released. I mean, this is like a raw dog. I made a couple copies at Kinko's and I folded them up and I put them in the tape.
Yeah,
Raw dogs.
that's what I was going to say, was because I remember, I don't know if Scott ever did this, but I remember in my old bands actually going to Kinko's. You'd lay stuff out on a piece of paper and then you'd photocopy it 100 times. You take it home and cut it, put it on cassettes that you recorded yourself, and pray to God that somebody would give you $5 for it at your show with your shitty DIY demo. But I've got copies of all mine. I'll never show them to you or let you hear them, but I do have them, and I'm proud to have those. But man, I remember late nights at Kinko's the night before show, running off copies on my cassette deck and copying inserts.
Well,
yep.
Speaking of which,
I used to be able to do that too, but I worked at a printer, so would use, you know, the photocopier there. But yeah, same story.
How about that?
Oh, wow.
Now this has 2 songs on it, and this is pretty crude. It's copyright 1986. Same thing. You know, I used to drive to Dallas to get hooked into the heavy metal scene, and I know the history behind this. They recorded it at a studio that was run by an African American fellow that did mostly blues and funk, but it was cheap. And so, if you can only imagine a guy like Howling Wolf sitting down at the control desk, and Rotting Corpse walks in and wants to do a demo, and John Perez and I, when we were putting together the Texas Metal Archives, we found the 2 tracks from the actual tape, and they were so corroded and corrupt and dropouts that it took quite a feat to get the one song that we put on the Texas Metal Archives. And I wish we had more copies of that thing. We ran through 1,000 pressings on CD, a second 1,000 that are now going for $50 to $100 a piece. And the idea was to put it on vinyl, and it just never happened. But that one repaired, I think my son spent 3 days trying to repair the Rotting Corpse track. And maybe JP can back me up on this. We had Mike T, who was also in a band, trying to repair it, and it was a royal nightmare. But so, despite the sound, and usually these things sounded like crap. Do we all agree? I mean, some of them sound really good, but this thing in particular didn't sound that great. It was very, very raw. It was unmastered. I would love to see what RC could do with it up there in the corner. And you never know. And I've got the tracks. So, but it might be a fun project for you just to try and fix what you could fix. But anyway, these are keeps. These are diamonds to me. I would never give these up or whatever, especially the Watchtower, because it's so quirky and weird, and they were so out there for their time. But anyway. So those are I've got tons more, but go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I got a bunch. Do
you have an Aerosmith demo? I'm just kidding.
I don't, but I do have. I did grab some very quickly off the shelf, but I got a couple of here that are from Texas. God Fear. This is their
Pantera.
No God demo, huh?
Pantera worship.
Big time Pantera worship, but they were. I wish I still had it, but their first demo under what was the name of the band before this?
Transcendence.
Transcendence was friggin' awesome. It was very much in the early
Queensryche.
Queensryche.
Wait, yeah, I was going to
Hellstar.
say they were a little more progressive, weren't they?
Yes. Well, that band is the
Transcendence?
same band. This is the same guys. This is just the next demo. That's it. I've been wanting to get. I had that. Wish I still had it, but I don't. In any case, this was their next demo. After that, they changed their name and they went for a more Pantera style. And the vocalist sounds a hell of a lot like Phil Anselmo. And he, of course, went on to sing for another somewhat famous Texas band. And why all of a sudden is the name escaping me? Come on, Henry Vasquez's band.
Archie Bunker, Blood of the Sun.
Blood of the Sun.
Blood of the Sun. He went on to sing for Blood of the Sun, correct?
Yep.
So anyhow, what was the guy's name? trying to remember it.
Sean.
There you go,
Oh.
Sean Vargas.
Oh, Sean Vargas. Yeah, he was also in a band called FTW.
Yep.
Yeah. But this
Great
they
band.
put
In
out-
fact, they were the first band to play in my living room. So there you have it. There's your connection.
Yeah, they played. After this, they recorded 2 albums for under labels that are nearly impossible to find these days. And I would kill to put this out on CD. I love this demo.
Man,
this is
Sean
one of those things
Vargas. Sean Vargas has a great voice. He's got
he
a.
can sing, but on here he's
Yeah.
not singing. On here he's barking like.
He's gurgling and gargling and
Anselmo.
barking
Yeah,
out
like
orders.
he does a little bit of singing on here, not quite like he did on the Transcendence demo. And when the very next demo, the very next album after this one, it's total, I don't know what you call that, pseudo masculine barking that a lot of
Yeah.
those bands were doing, Pantera-ish stuff. But they also got heavily into the Korn sound after this album too. So it was kind of a mixture of Korn and Pantera mixed together.
Yeah,
anyhow.
I thought he, Blood of the Sun has had a revolving door at vocalist and at guitar at both guitarists, but I thought the rendition with Sean was exceptional, and
Yep.
And it had a lot of soul, but it had some grit,
Yeah.
and it was like Deep Purple playing Motorhead. Sometimes
I
it was.
used to play those guys quite a bit with Sean singing on the show when I was doing the show.
Mark
Yep.
Fields asks, "Does anyone have an original No Life Till Leather?"
I've never
used to.
Original, I do have I just saw it. I just had it here. No, but I do have the one they put out. It's still sealed. I haven't even opened it. This is the one they put out on
Yeah.
Record Store Day some years ago.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out on vinyl, but I don't know what happened. Something happened. I heard a cease and desist came from Mustaine. Was that what it was? I don't know, but it never ended up coming out on vinyl. This is all there was.
I had a European version of it, and so that would lead me to believe that it was probably a bootleg, or I'm sorry, a special pressing.
A vinyl?
No, on tape.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, this thing was so traded. It's ridiculous. It was one of the most traded tapes back in the day.
traded and degraded.
So here's a couple more. This one is a new band that I think I might have talked about on the show before, but this is Fuzz Voyage. Brand new band. You can get this. Is that what that is? Fuzz Voyage?
Yes, she just Stella just sent me they sent me a T-shirt. I did a review for that tape, and they
Right.
sent me a T-shirt that's great, and sent me a little thank you sticky note. But that thing is, it's all instrumental, and it's punishing, man. She's got a great tone. The drumming is exceptional.
It's kind of doom stoner.
It
I
has
don't know.
melody, but it is heavy. It is very doomy.
Yeah,
Yep.
and yeah, I dig it. And then there's check this band out. I still have a copy of this one.
I know that loser.
Yeah.
This was the first album, I guess you call it, I ever sang on. So it was 1993 this thing came out. We formed in 1992. So this thing was a little bit early on. We should have not practiced in the right word. We should have gelled more together. Because it hadn't really gelled yet. I don't really like this tape, but we sold tons of them. So there's a lot of them out there and people liked
I
it.
don't
So
have
as long as
one.
you
I
don't
don't have one. I have the other
No.
one that you said the best thing you can do with this tape is leave it sealed.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure you have Fatal Delay. I thought almost positive I saw it on your shelf at your house.
Me or Carcass?
Carcass.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely
I'll look
don't have
again.
that.
I'm almost positive you have that one. And
Okay.
then I'm pretty sure the reason I said that was so you would never listen to it.
Yep. But guess who
that's the
didn't
way
listen?
Mine are. They're just yours is probably not embarrassing. Some of mine are just.
It's not horrible. It's just not what we became and what we wanted to be. It was, we were at a studio that dealt mostly in alternative rock and indie rock and that kind of stuff. So it didn't really know metal all that well. And we didn't know anything about recording. So it's not greatly recorded. It's not horrible. It's been out on CD too. There's a Puppet of Destruction two disc version that has there's like 100 copies of it out there with that 2 CD version with the demo as the second disc.
I can't chalk mine up to anything other than I just sucked on it. It was awful. I was so bad.
But your honesty will get you past anybody's bad.
Terrible. Maybe someday, maybe when I retire from the show, I'll play some of that crap. All right,
I got more. So go ahead. We got plenty to show. Go ahead. Move on.
Yeah, I want to show a couple real quick, and then. So one of my favorite things that I found, and I don't know, this crosses between demo and it's probably their album, but I don't think it ever came out on CD. It was only on tape. This is Troy Thibodeau and some dudes from Dallas, Damaged Faith. This thing is so good. It was a little bit different sound for me in the 90s, but I loved this. And I messaged Troy on Facebook a long time ago. I don't remember how I found this or where I got it back in the day, but I lost it over the years. And Carcass, no doubt, 5 or 6 years ago, I was over in the big record store in Arlington with the jukebox on the front, Forever Young. Walked straight to the back, and there it was for $4.98.
Get out.
And I couldn't believe it. So I have recorded this thing to archive it, and oh wow, Scott, that's awesome. So I am desperately trying to get this reissued. I have I've messaged a little bit with Troy. I would love to get this reissued on CD and or vinyl. He sent me a CDR that he made back in the day. And the tracks are really low. So I'm thinking it came off the original DAT because they sound great. But you can hear him starting and stopping stuff when he was recording it. Easily remedied. But, man, I would love to get this redone. So, dude, Scott, if you know those guys, man, I would really like to get in touch with Troy and put Troy in touch with my dude right there. And see about reissuing that. I'd love to remaster it and get it out. But another Dallas band that a lot of people didn't know about, and Chris Manning ended up being in this band after this album. This was their first demo tape, Symbols Become Rituals. This is Divinity from Dallas, and this thing smokes. The songwriting on this and oh my gosh, these dudes are good. Technical kind of thinking man's metal, Queensryche-ish, but a little edgier. But the songwriting is just top notch. And this is my original one that I picked up from those guys back in the day when I got to know them. And then Chris got in the band years after this, and they did an album called Let It Burn or Watch It Burn that was really good as well, but it suffered from really bad production. And man, if we could get a hold of the singer again who wrote all the songs or most of the material, those would be a fantastic reissue. And Scott already brought it up, but is this not the king of all demo tapes? Obviously, this is the reissue from Record Store Day, but that's the mother of all demos, right?
Well, to some people, yeah, I would say yes. That's
I'm
probably
talking
the whole
about fame, notoriety. Everybody knows about the No Life Till Leather demo.
Yep.
No
That's,
matter what
that's
you
like
think about it.
It's like the Roundhouse tape, the Roundhouse tapes of tapes.
Scott, I had 2 of these, and I ended up sending the second one to Andy Lee from My Silent Wake.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right, you guys go, and then I can
Okay.
round it out.
Well,
toward the
once
end.
again, I keep it all Texas all the time, and I divided this into old Texas stuff and new Texas stuff. So let me get the old Texas stuff out of the way. I mean, your No Life Till Metal or No Life Till Leather are probably your favorite, but these two right here,
Genocide.
yeah, this is this was from '87. Gosh, I wish I could. There you go. You can see that one. That one is that's a Royal Keeper, and then obviously this '91 demo. And you just don't see these things floating around. But this has
I
got
don't have that either.
Crackdown, Ballistic Forces of Nature, Sex Cult. I mean, freaking Gamacide rules. And we shouldn't let the day go by without talking about the this thing that just came out. In fact, this is your box, Scott. I need to get in the mail. The Devastation demo tapes, including the Contaminated one, the Violent Termination, Destined to Death. Man, these are phenomenal. They all sound great. And yes, they're new, but the demos it gives you an idea of from whence Devastation came. And then I'll end with these two. Speaking of Gamacide and Rick Perry, he had a side project that was so wild and so gothic and so industrial called, anyone? Puncture?
Yes.
Puncture. This is called Dutch Fist. And man, this thing is punishing. And they used to have, and here's the kind of the cheapo, half printed whatever. But anyway, they used to have like a bank of TVs behind them playing, and just super chains hanging from the ceiling. Man, it was really killer stuff. Heavy metal, but more of an industrial vibe. And then I'll leave the old Texas stuff with this. Here's an original Rigor Mortis demo. And I think they have since put this out on CD. This was right before Bruce's untimely passing. This was from '86, but this is what got Kerry's attention. And little did I know that Kerry was in Austin doing all this madness, and this is what got him here, was the Rigor Mortis recording. He ended up moving to Dallas because of the Rigor Mortis recording. So nice little known fact. You can maybe update us and reiterate us on that fact. But anyway, I got to Texas in about '84, and so I got bathed in, I got baptized by fire with the Texas metal scene, and it is prolific. And I mean, we could spend days just talking about Houston, or just talking about San Antonio Valley, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, obviously. But so anyhow, Scott, what do you got? And then I've got some modern Texas stuff, and then I'm closing out. I'm done. Yes, Repulsion, Mark.
I'll just rip through a bunch of
it.
I've got a lot here, and this is not a demo, but this is cool. I just have to pick it up.
It's kind of a demo.
Aska Immortal.
All right.
Yep.
Was this ever?
Yes, Tony, I do remember Talon and Sedition.
Pulled out, but I found this at Half Price Books, dude, probably a year ago. Signed by George.
Nice.
Oh wow.
I'm at the McKinney Half Price Books.
You change your name to Clay or to Chewy or whatever that says?
It's Clay now.
All right, so anyhow, this is a New Mexico band, Enforcer, straightforward metal. The guy named Mike Ostrander was a guitar player, and the guy was a total shredder. I mean, he could play Yngwie with his eyes closed behind his back. That's just the way he was. That's not the style of music they were playing there. They were just playing straightforward heavy metal, a bit of someone might call it power metal. Great band. They put out a lot of demos. Never did get signed to anybody, but I do have a couple of their demos. Here's another one. Enforcer.
I'd love to hear those.
This is way before the modern Enforcer everybody knows about. This is like into the late '80s and into the early '90s. These guys were around. So actually, in the early in the early years of Ultimatum, we played a lot of shows with them, and one time on stage, the singer did this really cool growl where he like raw in verse, and I'm like, dude, how'd you do that? And he showed me how to do that, and I used it all the time in Ultimatum. So anyhow, this is a band called M13. Just straightforward heavy metal band. I don't know, bit thrashy from New Mexico from the mid '90s. Again, another band we played shows with back in the day. Of course, everybody knows Ultimatum was a Christian band, but we rarely played Christian shows. We were playing in the clubs with all these other bands. So, and I always, if I could buy a demo tape from a band, I would, to support them if we're a CD, whatever.
Well, tapes are more portable too. You could stick it in your pocket of your cargo camo shorts, and they were a convenient way to get music.
I'm gonna put you in my pocket.
Belial.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah. 3-song demo from them. I've had it forever. I don't even remember where I got it from. It's been that long. A couple of New Jersey bands.
Yeah, that's more darkened, like blackened heavy metal or blackened death metal, isn't it?
Death metal, yeah, kind of death metal. New Jersey thrash band Faust. As you can see, the corner has been. It's not in good shape. I don't know who it belonged to before me, but it's not gotten any worse in my collection. So anyhow, it's thrash band from New Jersey, and one of the guys, they actually put a couple demos out. It's funny though, because if you look on Discogs, they only have one. If you look on Metal Archives, they have this one. But Scott Faust is the bass player from the band. Scott Hornick, sorry, was the bass player from the band, and he went on to play with Ripping Corpse, among many, many others.
Yep.
This thing is impossible to find, but I really wish I could put this thing out on CD. But the problem is it's only 3 songs and a couple of intro outros. So I mean, it would be basically an EP, But anyhow,
put it out and we could share with your friends.
Yeah, I could actually. I almost positive I have digital files of this on
kind
CD.
Of like,
I'll have to look and see.
Kind of like Iron Rainbow.
I'm almost positive I have Dropbox.
This is also from the same person. As you can see, the top corner is wet. I don't know what happened to his stuff, but this is Alter, another New Jersey metal band.
Someone spilled a beer in his tape bag.
Yeah, something like that.
Pretty convinced of that.
Could be, but this is pretty raw thrash death metal, early death metal kind of stuff. Not too far from what Chuck and Death were doing.
Hey, Mark Fields said something about Entombs, but Life Goes On demo. Mark, what about the Nihilist demos before them? I really actually like those better, but go ahead.
This is one of my favorites. I love this band. So
wow, is that a real Cirith Ungol demo?
Yes, it is not an original pressing though. It is.
Okay.
They did repressings several years ago on their, whatever their page was, and I purchased it. I've had it ever since. But I mean, since that time, I think I still have it sitting here. They've actually put out this thing. Have you seen this?
Oh, you showed us that a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, you did show us that. That's got all the demos on it?
It's got all the cassettes, all their main albums on cassette and demos and live stuff. This is one of my all-time favorites.
That is a good one.
Now, is that the reissue that we did?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. When I say original, I just did
the original. There's many different versions of the original because the original was them with a tape machine, just chugging through as many as they could and then making photocopies. So there's a lot of variety in the different copies out there. But yeah, this is the one that Retroactive put out a few years ago, and it's fantastic. I mean,
Glenn was on that, wasn't he?
This was Glenn for sure, and this actually was put out on vinyl too.
Speaking of Glenn, he had mentioned something about the Viking demo, which I had at one time, but we could spend a whole hour on just California demos: Attacks, Disaster Area, Albatross, Viking, Vengeance.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
this is the original Vengeance demo.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, this is a lot of Glenn Rogers doing. I mean, he wrote most of these songs, so this you can actually see the it's so old the paper is starting to come off. The glue's dried up, So anyhow, here's one that you'll dig, Rob, real quick.
Oh right, no, it's all good. Yeah. Oh, I used to have that. I don't know what happened to it.
enough on that one. And then finally, one more I'm going to show you. I got one more to show, but this will be the last one I show. And then before we end, I'll show the other one.
Oh yeah,
But
Christian
this is-
glam metal.
But this
Solinger.
is pre. This is Holy Soldier, and this is
Holy
pre
Soldier.
pre Stephen Patrick stuff, and this is fantastic stuff. I mean, Rox Records has been trying to release this thing for decades, at least 2 decades, just trying to get the rights to release this thing. It is very high quality stuff, but a different vocalist. Unfortunately, the vocalists and the rest of the band, so it'll never happen because he won't let it happen. But you never know, man. It could happen, right? Someday. You never know.
Maybe.
So that's just a few that I pulled. I do have one more I'll show real quick, but this one just came out. Got to give a little thumbs up to our brother Caton, who we had on here maybe a month or 2 ago. But this is basically a live in the studio, not even in the studio, live in the garage recording of the band. I mean, it is very raw recording, but it's even on this tape. I think this one came from either Germany or Japan. I can't remember. There's a couple different versions of it, but it's just
a tape.
Yeah.
Like back in the day. That's awesome.
So anyhow, it is very raw though. The recording is very raw. I mean, so don't expect high fidelity quality recordings. That's not what
he sent me the file on that, and I, hey, it's no worse than the Vindicator stuff that you guys put out on vinyl. I still play that. I love the one that they recorded with an iPhone on a kitchen table or something. Give me a break.
Some of it, yep. No doubt. So anyhow, that's a few that I pulled. Go ahead.
I showed this a million years ago back on the show.
Oh yeah.
When I was in the Air Force, living in Fort Worth in the dorms, as a kid, 18, 19, this dude was rooming next to me, or he was visiting a guy next door to me, and he had long hair and kind of had the look, and we got to talking, and after he went back to New Jersey or wherever these guys are from, he sent me this and a signed 8x10 and a black and white bunch of papers about the band and stuff. And I've kept it for over 30 years. And this is one of my prized rock and roll possessions. I'll never forget meeting that dude. I've tried to find him on the internet, and I found somebody that knows him. And I literally got word to him, hey, met you a million years ago. And he was like, hey, thanks, whatever. But I'd love to talk to the dude. But anyway, Ray's Kicking Your Hide. You can find this on YouTube. I'll listen to this on YouTube today. I'd love to put this out again. And Scott Beatley, if you're still watching, I sent you a friend request on Facebook, and I can't tell you how much I would really like to get the wheels rolling. Like I said, I talked to Troy a little bit, but it's been a while. It's been a year or two. But check this out, Scott. I want to see if you know about these guys, since you must be a local guy. I picked this up. I was out picking records with a guy one time down south of Dallas, maybe close to Waco. Seventh Veil. This is a sealed cassette. I have no clue about Seventh Veil, but I've never opened it, because I don't want to open it unless I'm going to do something with it. Can't find anything about it. It just says it was recorded at Inside Track, Denton, Texas. I assume it's hard rock or some kind of hair metal. No clue, but do I need to open it?
Seventh Veil. Hang on. This. Okay, hang on just a second.
I think I Googled it a million years ago, but yeah, I think I remember them being around Dallas back in the early 90s, maybe. But anyway, so that was cool. Then I'll just run through the rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were on to something. I had done a project for a friend of mine called Seventh Rise. And I thought, wait a minute.
All right.
Anyway, nope. Okay, never mind. I thought we had a connection here, but we don't.
I'll look it up again. I haven't gone through these in so many years, but this one is Harlot. This is Todd Michael Hall from Riot V.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was on The Voice or something like that. So I started I was trying to get him on the show, and we talked a little bit. He was very, very nice, and we just never really set anything up. But I found out about this, and so I went and bought the CD. I have a sealed blister pack CD of this release, and then he had some sealed cassettes, and he would sign them, and that's why the plastic bag is around it, so it protects the CD, because he signed it on the cellophane since it's sealed. But this is pretty good too, so check out Harlot, and it's called 25 Gets a Ride. Same with Carcass. $25 is $25, man.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? And then
You are right.
I got this. I think these dudes are from Louisiana. I don't know, Scott. Maybe you know something about these dudes too. I think they're from Louisiana. Laden Vein, and it's called Power Groove. I'd like to put this out as well, but I don't know anybody. I messaged a couple of dudes that had the same name as some of the guys in the band, but I never got any response from anybody. Got it in a collection. Pretty cool. Melodic, hair metal kind of stuff. And then the last one I showed last week, I think, is the unknown one, Fairchild, Ready to Rock. I grabbed this over at Henry's place the other day, and it is absolutely right up my alley. Hair metal. Love it.
Well, here, these are not up your alley, but I'm going to show them anyway.
Do it.
And these are more modern bands. This is the War Master Chapel of Apocalypse 2009 demo. They're still putting out, and they had a version that was a yellow cassette, a version that was black, and a version that was white. So of course I have to have them all. And then this was their 2010 demo, and I saw that TJ Lewis had posted. Gosh, I'm getting such a glare. TJ Lewis had posted that he was listening to Pyramid of the Necropolis by War Master. That might be the best 90s death metal record that was not released in the 90s. That thing is so punishing and so good and so well recorded and so well played. It's one of my favorite albums, top 20 Islander for sure. Here's another H-Town band that I'm sure Fraser's familiar with. This is Dave of Death, Dave Reliak, who's a great dude and a good father. Oath of Cruelty. He's also, his main band is PLF, which is a two-piece grindcore band, but Oath of Cruelty is like the full Monty. Has a guy from Imprecation, has Matt Hafner that's also played in a million bands down there. And this is their other demo. And this has probably the best rendition of a Slayer tune that might be better than Slayer, Necrophiliac. And not to be left out, I have Dallas Fort Worth represented with, speaking of Blood of the Sun, this is Wyatt Burton doing Steel Bearing Hand. Gosh, I can't get the... Oh, well, Steel, there we go. Steel Bearing Hand. This is called Kneel Before the Steel demo, and this thing is amazing. It might be, I hate to say that it's better than the full album, which I did the cover for, and I was grateful, but man, this thing is greatness. So sometimes the demo doesn't sound bad. Sometimes the demo actually sounds better than the regular. But so even modern bands are still kicking these things out. I love cassettes. I've got several dozen cassette players in my house still. And I like the convenience of a cassette. I like the warmth of it. It sounds really analog, kind of like a record, but without all the pops and clicks and so forth. But and yes, Fraser, that is the one with Daniel Shaw, War Master. But man, that War Master Pyramid of the Necropolis, that thing is, if you haven't heard it, that is my recommendation for the week. Find it on the internet. Find those dudes when they were with the Daniel Sawblade Shaw version of that band when they first released. And that's why I'm excited about Cryptic Void, because Cryptic Void is the drummer singing, Steven, the drummer from War Master, the original drummer singing, and then members of War Master, members of Insect Warfare, and members of PLF. So that's why I'm stoked about that on Thursday if we can make it after trivia. But anyway, like I said, we could spend a day talking about each city. I mean, that's the thing about demos is that there's so many bands, and that was the cheapest way to put your product out.
Yep.
That and well, of course now, well, there you go, Angels in Exile. I've actually heard of them.
Yep, they're killer thrash band. I had two others, one that were sitting in the pile I missed, but they're from Albuquerque as well. When Ultimatum was recording our first full-length album, these guys were in the studio recording their first full-length album, which never came out as far as I know. So I'm kind of wondering what happened to all those tracks, because these guys are great. But this demo is fantastic.
I think I actually saw them when I was doing the Rattlehead thing. Rattlehead, Caustic. Who was the other band on that that wild thing? Anyway,
could be. They were pretty active for a long time.
Were they early aughts, early to mid aughts, or were they earlier than that? Like 2000?
No. They were. This was like late 80s into the early 90s.
Oh, really?
So yeah, because this demo was like 1992.
Seems like I've actually seen them, and
they were around for quite a while after that, but they just didn't get anything out. Anyhow, I did put a link in the description or in the chat box there if you want to hear the demo. It is available on YouTube, but it's fantastic thrash. Their singer was a quadriplegic. Is that the right word? He was confined to a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
Got into a car accident, but he kept singing. And man, that guy could sing and scream. And the first song on here is called "Eyes to the Sky," and it's just basically about the whole accident and you know what happened to him and how he's living now. It's really great song, so check it out. And this is another one, Dark Truth. This was their early 90s demo. They ended up putting out 2 or 3 albums after that. I know they had one self-titled album, and they had one called The Rhythmic Sound of Crushing Bone. But they were more of a straightforward heavy metal, very much into like vampires and that kind of thing. And the vocals had that kind of Peter Steele thing going on.
I thought you were going to say dark. I thought you were going to say Dark Rain there for a moment, but
yeah, Dark Truth. I actually, while we were talking, I looked them up real quick on Discogs, and it does have both their albums on there, but it doesn't have that demo on there. Whatever. Maybe I'll add my demo. They're a local Albuquerque band as well, so that's all I have for now.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing about demo tapes is early on that may be all you got. There was no national release or whatever, and so that's why they're real treasures. Like the Dark Rain, the Tale of Two Bands. First, they started off like a power metal band like Hellstar. In fact, I actually booked them with Steel Fury at a place called High Chaparral in Houston, and they were opening for Hellstar, and then later on they became full-blown death metal, so it was just kind of weird, but anyway,
didn't
so
Hex
there
do
you
that
have
too?
it.
Hex, the band Hex, started off as a power metal band, then they went to thrash, then they went to death metal.
Oh, Hex with
Yeah.
2 X's.
Yes.
Yeah, I dig those guys too.
Now they have 2 newer albums out that are both in the kind of power thrash, power metal vein. When I say power metal, I'm talking like, Metal Church style power metal, not Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I saw Hex with in the Bay with Cerebral Fix and Death Angel and Violence, because weren't they from the Bay Area?
I believe they were.
Yeah.
By the way, I forgot to mention, if anybody's looking for that new Hyrax cassette tape, I actually have like 10 copies available on NoLifeToMetalRecords.com. I didn't show it to say that, but I just remembered that.
Okay. Well, I haven't ordered one yet because I've just been busy and a derelict, so I'll buy one from you.
Yeah, get them. I mean, I'm not saying you have to get it from us. You can also get it from Caton has copies too, but from what I understand, he's almost sold out. So
Okay.
I think the tapes came from either Japan or Germany, because they were put out in both countries. Put them out with different covers. I don't remember which these are.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
I do know that I'm pretty sure it's probably Japan, because look, the CD is the exact same with the Obi strip on it
Oh, okay.
from Japan. So
Anyway,
Rob, what say you, Rob?
I'm distracted because I have just found
You're trying to figure out who PLF is?
No, I'm going down I'm way down the Seventh Veil rabbit hole. So, breaking news, they apparently changed their name to Radio King
Okay.
at some
sounds-
point,
Sounds like a 90s alternative band.
and are still around. They actually have a MySpace page. So I've had this tape for several years, thought it was self-titled because of the side. I just looked at the front. Oh, Anxiety Society. So Googled that. I'm way down
Hey.
the rabbit hole.
That's me.
And I'm proceeding to check out on Amazon right now because one of these things only had one left in stock. Boom. So I have a tape and a CD on the way. No, 2 CDs on the way. So I have no idea. And neither one of them are this. But it is the same band, same logo. And I think I found
We'll have to do an update next time when you get it on. Let us know what it sounds like and who they are.
I'll have to find them on Facebook. But yeah, so I wasn't distracted. I was listening, but I was definitely diving headfirst down a rabbit hole on the show. I've eaten on the air. That's a joke for me and Carcass. That was good for 3 clowns that didn't know what they were going to talk about.
3 clowns in 4 minutes of prep. Well, thankfully the Texas section of my demo tapes is closed.
And you guys dominated because you guys have got so many cool original demos, and I think Carcass is badass as Scott's collection is. I think you may have won the day with Texas demo tapes.
I don't know. Find the Albuquerque stuff. I mean,
I know it's
There's-
also regional.
I'm gonna get into the California section of the demos too, and I bet Glenn Rogers goes ballistic. I want to make him. I want to make him
got,
a little jealous.
I've got
Trial
this,
and error.
which
I know who you are.
it's not much, but it's Glenn Rogers.
Can't see it.
It's basically a bunch of songs he was working on for Hyrax and later on for other bands. So I haven't heard it in years, but it's just a bunch of song ideas that Glenn Rogers came up with that eventually.
I have a tape similar to that, and it's from Phil Demmel of Violence, and he had sent it to my buddy Mikey Bonaventura, who is the lead guitarist for Attacks, an Orange County thrash band, not to be confused with the Poser band in where is it, Ohio. But they wanted the label, the Mechanic Records, wanted Sean Killian to change his vocal style. They wanted him to be more of a straight up singer instead of the goofy kind of high pitched weird cadence that he had. And I love that. That's what attracted me to that Eternal Nightmare record and all their demo stuff. So I actually have a tape where Sean Killian is recording in a bathroom in an apartment using a real vocalist, a real vocal pattern instead of doing the yippity skippity type vocal pattern that he was normally using. So that is a true treasure too. I would never get rid of that. In fact, you need to listen to it. You need to come over at some point where you can spend longer than 16 seconds. And
I know.
And hey, Tony Clem, thank you for the reminder. The first 6 Osric Tentacles were out on demo tape, and I showed those, I think, last week.
We almost made it.
And I have they're all original too, by the way.
All right,
so thank
Tony,
you, Tony Clem.
You're going to need something from me one day, and I'm not going to be there for you because we almost made it through a show.
And I know that we're trying to close out, but just let me say one thing.
Yeah.
If people will just, I want to know if you're listening to The Crypt on Fridays at 6:00. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's any way to recover the set, but I really work hard to try and make that better than everybody else. I don't know if I succeed, but nobody has criticized me, so I don't know if I'm succeeding or not. But if you will hit me up you will DM me at Carcass John Art on Instagram. I would love to hear your input or your criticism or your critique. And if you do that, I will either send you a clip of the show and a sticker, because I'm going to make some stickers for the crypt too. And so I just want to know if people are actually listening. And so once again, I can send you the file of the show and you can check it out at your convenience, or I'll send you a sticker, or both. But I just want to hear from people. I want to know, kind of like you did when you're doing the Metal Rob show, who's listening, who's out there. I get a little feedback, but not much. So I want to hear it. And Frazier, I'm calling you out. You better be listening to the crypt, because that's the heaviest stuff you'll ever hear. And you're never going to hear it on the radio. I don't care about Sweet Nightmares. They're a bunch of posers compared to what I put on there. So there you go. There's your shout. There's your call out.
Woo!
Woo!
Bunch of posers.
Bunch of posers. All right. Well, I'm
I'm just glad Wes Weaver's not still with us, because I couldn't call him a poser. That dude was huge and could squash me like a grape, but I digress.
I'm going to go eat dinner, and I'm going to go to my stepson's basketball game.
Yes. I need to find a ride to the car dealership, because my car
He says hi.
is at the dealer.
What's up, Ace? Ace.
He's like
Hey.
half asleep.
Ace.
Ace.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
What?
He was half asleep. He's been sitting in my arms almost the entire show. So he's usually not that needy, but apparently right now he wanted to be held.
Hey,
Nils,
Nil,
yes.
You can go to deepdallasradio.rocks at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Deepdallasradio.rocks. Scroll to the bottom and hit listen now.
Does that stuff get like archived where you can play it later down the road, or?
No, but I have all the shows saved, and I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
Nils, if you want to hit me up at Carcass John Art on Instagram, I will send you a link. Send me your email address, and I will send you the link, and you can listen to it.
Yep.
Hey,
All right, boys.
I know we talked demos, but the one demo that is my holy grail that I had and got rid of when I won't go into that. I got rid of it. Is 1988 Fight Till the End demo by Heathen's Rage. So if anybody knows where I can get a copy of that, hit me up.
Yeah, and Scott Beatley, man, hit me up about Damaged Faith. I like I said, I messaged Troy a little bit a couple years ago. I may hit him up again right now while I'm thinking about it. But man, I would like to get that remastered and put out, and just gosh, I would do it just as a favor even if they didn't want to release it. Because I just like to do it, but I don't want to do it and trade it or share it with anybody without permission from the band. But that is one of my favorite demos of all time.
That's saying something.
And now I'm going to dig into this Seventh Veil.
And you guys know that singer from Godfear? Sean Vargas? No?
Oh, I know him.
I wonder if there's any chance he would let us put out the Godfear stuff on CD. Just the demo tape that I think it's called No God, Know God. I know he's very much not a fan of his old music and lyrics, but so what?
Okay, I'll contact him.
I think one of those guys passed away too, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Rob?
I'll contact him.
Rob froze.
He froze.
There he's back.
Internet issues. That's a
Right
sign
on.
that you need to go eat.
Yeah, I need to get out of here. Let's close this
Yes,
thing
sir.
out because I'm starting to have network issues again after 2 weeks of smooth sailing. So
You got it.
let
Close
me
her out.
hang on. Let me get queued up here. All right. Thank you once again. You can follow Carcass on Instagram at Carcass John Art. You can find Scott.
You can find me on YouTube under No Life to Metal or Scott Waters, or you can find John, Carcass John at
Carcass John Art.
or you can find him under Facebook as well under
Yeah.
Fossum.
John Fossum. Look
Sure
for the
enough. So,
psychedelic
yeah.
picture of me with a pair of glasses with starry eyes and long hair.
So anyhow, I guess since Rob keeps freezing, we'll close it up without him here and do our normal thing, right?
Yep.
So for,
Until next time.
What episode are for episode number
186?
Demo Talk. Are you back?
Do it.
Do your thing.
No, do it. You're doing great.
No.
What? All we gotta do now is say
Metal will prevail. Is he frozen again?
He's frozen again.
I'm playing the outro right now. Here it comes.
Here it
Goodbye.
comes.
I love you.